Everyone, welcome to IT Live, brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. I'm Texas Homer, joined by my friends Coach Dub and Eric Nahlin. We are going to talk about Muschamp's hire and what that actually means for the roster, the player types, and what we need to do in the portal to make sure old Muschamp is ready to ride. We don't need 3 years of building the defense. We got to go. And then at the end, we'll also talk about what the offense is still needing. And then Eric's been dropping awesome portal notes and all of that kind of stuff. So you guys are going to say super updated. What we don't talk about on the show, you guys will find at Inside Texas for only $1. Awesome community, even better intel. Hope to see you over there. Christmas week, boys.
Hey, there's going to be a intel piece that drops while I'm on here. I had to send it over to Joe to edit and post because of the, we had to jump on YouTube, but it's going up here in any minute now.
Awesome.
Hey.
Well, we'll see if we hit that at all. It's going to be fun to see the Mint being ran at Texas. Yes, the Mint front. It's a Saban, Georgia front. It's very fun. And you're going to get a lot of hits and sacks from the linebackers. You're going to see Colin Simmons move around at that jack spot. And then you're going to play split field safeties behind it, so different coverages behind it. It's really fun. It's really tailored, really game plan specific, a lot of fun. And Ian just wrote an article on it. I'm sure we're going to cover that on our show, get really deep into the schemes. But I've just been studying a Georgia 2018 playbook, a Muschamp 2014 playbook, all this stuff, trying to really see what we need because it's going to inform what we're going to talk about, right? What players do you need to fit that scheme? Okay.
Well, those players have to have the right mindset, too. Some of those, the D-line got to be pretty selfless at times.
Yeah.
Yep. You got to see with those personalities what they're willing to do, because a lot of the times, exactly, they're setting up linebackers and that kind of stuff. They're supposed to be the big bodies that take on a lot of the work. So that will be the fun part if the front guys are willing to make that switch psychologically. Let's talk defensive tackle first, and these are what we're looking for in El Portal. So when you talk about a mint front, that's a 3 down. So you're going to have a zero tech nose, meaning lined up on the center. And he's generally a bigger guy. Now, they're not as big as they used to be. Georgia has a whole clinic on, like, here's how big our nose used to be. Here's how big he is now. You have to get faster and stronger. But still, you need a big, big zero tech. Eric, what's the word there?
Yeah, I mean, I think they've got their – so this is about exactly what they need out of the portal. So this is kind of intel on what we're hearing in that regard. They feel like they're on a couple guys. One is a big. Actually, I've heard of 2 big bigs. That's where you're talking about the nose. Still got to be athletic. Can't just be a big fat guy like we used to see. Bama, of course, had those guys back in the day. Gilbert Brown, is that his name? They still have to be athletic. But Texas also needs to address some deficiencies at the end of the recruiting class. So they're going to be pretty aggressive at D tackle. One guy that can play right away, and then maybe a younger guy or 2 that still fits that big profile that they're looking for. And they've got, what I wrote there is I think they're going to get a young guy that fits the profile exactly what they're looking for.
Yeah. So this is the mint front, and this is what it looks like. So, I mean, a lot of people know of the tight front, right? The Aranda tree. The mint is a variation of the tight front. The mint was learned from the tight front guys, specifically from former Texas staff, Orlando and Tom Herman. So you're going to see that. But what that means is that big nose has to eat space, and then you'll see those tackle ends, the TEs, they're in that 4-eye or sometimes straight up, meaning that they're not playing straight on the edge and rushing, right? So they have to stand up and do some work and help the linebackers. So
what always concerns me with this is setting the edge, not losing the edge. Texas lost the edge a whole lot when Orlando tried to go to that tight front.
Yeah.
It drove me absolutely insane. It was every single game. A lot of times they put the nickel in a tough spot of setting the edge, which they're often undermanned to do. So that you've got to be disciplined when you run this front.
Yeah, you see the backside here where it says star. So if RB is to him, he's not in the run fit. If the running back is away from him, and why they're doing that is because they want to sit in this RPO window. So if the back's away, you're going to be good. But he will have to be in the fit. And then they also love to attack, like Eric says, this strong side edge gets attacked a lot. So that's where the Georgia, they're physical as hell. You need that.
Got to contain.
Yeah. So that's going to be the big thing. So we talked about nose, and then you'll still need that kind of tackle body you see there on the left. So I think right now, when we're just talking with our scheme brethren, in our head, it's get a nose in the portal. Maybe Canoe can do it even, but maybe a Justice Terry for that T spot, and then a Lance Jackson for that E spot. Is kind of what we're thinking early on.
Yeah, they got the perfect body types for that, what they grow into. I want to see what Mariah Watson does over the offseason. There's a lot of guys in the program that can play, straight up over the center. So I want to see what the who transforms and who puts on weight and things like that. What position they might play.
If and to add physicality, you can always get bigger. Like you could put Hero Canoe at that T spot, and then whoever they get out of the portal can go to N, or Alex January even with another year of strength and conditioning. And then if you get Canoe at tackle, you could always put, if you're getting run on, you could put Justin Terry at that end. It's just, you can get bigger if you're lacking physicality. But, I don't think we're going to worry about that with Lance Jackson. The goal is to still be able to get a pass rush and be disruptive. So if you can't have Terry at the tackle there and Lance Jackson at the edge, that helps you out quite a bit.
Yeah, we talked about before the show, the winners of this defense coming in are defensive ends that we worried if they could even be defensive ends, maybe they would end up as a defensive tackle. That player is a winner in this system. It can get a little bit tricky when you have a pure speed rusher that is not known for any linebacker activities. He's just off the edge rushing. That's not a perfect fit. So we have to see with that kind of stuff. But this J here is the jack. That's going to be Colin Simmons. And so we got to see, but we're going to need simply bigger bodies. And I'm sure Muschamp's going to come in with Becton and say, everybody 20 pounds up in order to play this.
Oh yeah. It's either that or, you're not playing guys till the seniors. Like Ethan Burke would have been perfectly fine in that defense this year, but he would have been ripped to shreds, earlier in his career. This year we saw him swing inside. His best game of the year was probably Vanderbilt, where he was playing all over the line. He would have been good in this, but not until later in his career. So it's, you've got to be physically mature too, not just at a young age, but a lot of guys, it takes time. Ethan Burke, fans probably would have thought he was a disappointment early in his career. And then, hey, where'd that guy come from as a senior? Well, it takes time to get the requisite strength and size.
Yep. And as you can see here, I think it's the money backer in this system, but you see this guy is blitzing, right? So a lot of your stuff is coming from the ability to blitz a linebacker versus just pure edge rushing. So that'll be something to watch. All right, so we're talking about bodies. I want to make sure I'm not actually burying the lead here on the portal side of it. Let's see.
They're also going to account for like Josiah Sharma taking another jump. Sark was talking about him the other day.
Yeah.
So they do need one that's physically mature, but long term they've got a couple guys in the pipeline that I think they really like. It's just what can they do for 2026?
Yeah, for sure. Did we miss anything on defensive tackle, Eric?
No, if we're talking portal too, and not just Muschamp next year, they are looking for the younger guy, and that younger guy that I think that they're going to get fits that big nose plugger, not like a guy that would play that T spot.
Yeah. Morning, my dude. Super happy to hear y'all talking scheme and not gloating about rival losses. Why the best? Oh, I'm sure we will do a little rival losses at some point. I mean, but the scheme Muschamp is number one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's A&M didn't even play, did they?
Yeah, that's true.
I didn't miss anything Saturday.
Well, don't worry. We'll have some other shows that are making fun of rivals. We'll focus more on Muschamp on this one. All right, defensive end. This is what we talked about, the body types. But same thing, maybe a younger player here to develop, but more it's about maximizing what we have now, retooling the guys that we have now, getting them bigger, figuring out their spots. This will be a position to watch going forward.
Well, the good thing is that Lance Jackson can play in any damn system, so that doesn't matter. He's good. And Zena, Zena's still young, but Zena's getting bigger, and every pound he gains, it seems like he becomes even more physical. So I think Zena's going to be fine too. It's just, it will be tough when they get run directly at if they're at 4i, just because they're still pretty young. But long term, they're going to be fine, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's just going to be exciting to watch these guys kind of change from just setting up in the C gap and firing to, hey, you got real jobs. Like you're reading and reacting. Like you have to. It's a lot more work, and not always as sexy of work, right? You're giving a lot of help to like the jack or the linebackers and doing a lot of that.
Sometimes you're doing the dirty work.
Yeah, and it's a tough job too. He has to contain out of that. I know you spoke about it earlier, but I can only go back to the West Virginia game when he went forward on two, the quarterback scrambles, and then you got Taquan Graham playing like the 4i trying to contain. He can't get over there, right? Trying to two gap, so it's pretty tough.
Yeah, because they got to be well coached, man. That's a concern, man. I hate poor contain, and that defense if you don't play discipline, you're gonna get wrecked on the outside.
Yeah, and they're just a lot of that work goes to the linebackers, right? So I was saying it's not that sexy for the interior guys. They just create a mess and a jumble in the middle, so that running back has to pick a side, and then somebody's got to go over and make the play. But you have to be aggressive. You have to be good at recognizing. So it'll be fun to watch. But they're very aware of the weaknesses of their scheme and do a lot to make sure that they can compensate for that. Linebacker. So you lose LaFau, but it's not necessarily a crazy, oh man, we needed him for this scheme, right?
Yeah, no, I think it's the timing of LaFau is actually a little bit better with Muschamp, because I don't think LaFau perfectly fit what Muschamp wanted to do. Now, don't get me wrong, LaFau was pretty good on run fits and run blitzes, but not the biggest guy in the world. They want really Bo Barnes is the perfect body type. He's just young, right? We're going to get our first real look at him against Michigan and against a team that's going to run at him. So that'll be good to see. But they want a bigger, bulkier inside linebacker. And they do send them upfield quite a bit. They get set up for play, so you got to read and react and do a lot of cleanup work.
Yeah, and you need to be able to blitz because you're going to get a lot of sacks at the linebacker position.
Bo Barnes running 10-9 at 235 pounds or whatever he is. That's that's a perfect recipe for blitzing
for sure. All right, and then looking portal wise, what are we doing? This room is thin, man. So what's going on there?
We're looking for like a Bo Barnes, but a senior, and they're not going to find a Bo Barnes that's a senior, but they can find a good quality linebacker that's experienced. That's what they need. Experience makes up for a lot. I think they've got a guy in mind. I'm not sure he's going to go in the portal. That's the thing. And we'll see if they get him. That guy already is pretty familiar with what's going on. So. Yeah, I can't say their names obviously, because then it just kills Texas's chances and makes things a lot harder on them, and people don't want to talk to me anymore. So, but they're on one that I think would be a great fit, and they're on another that I think would be a good fit.
Yeah. Tell me off the show, because I want to see how much they're trying to pull guys from people that run the Saban scheme, or how much of it they're just like, I like this athletic profile, let me bring them in. Because the beauty of this scheme is a lot of people run it. And so theoretically, you can plug and play a lot of players that already kind of know what's going on there. So that's nice too.
Yeah, and for reference, anybody who's running back in the past, you can go look at Alabama back in the day with Rolando McClain, Dante Hightower, some bigger guys that can bring pressure up the middle and blitz. 6'3", 245, 250 guys that also can move in space. So,
yeah, man, Bo Barnes hit the lottery with this hire.
Yeah,
Bo Barnes
behind. I'm a bit behind. Y'all keep mind Mint will probably be first and down. Yep. We'll have a separate package for obvious pass rush. Yep. Correct. Yeah. That's when you'll start seeing some fun pressures and simulated stuff. All the stuff that Georgia was doing to toy with us. All right. Secondary. So this is a good fit for the secondary. First off, the secondary is kind of the baby of these guys that have created this scheme, right? So the goal is to be able to play really game plan specific coverages, matching anything that can possibly happen. It's a pretty insane scheme. So this will be awesome. Now it's a man match quarters system when you're not in cover 3. So you're going to see less drop way the hell back for no reason, not looking for anything. So fans will enjoy that. And once you learn the rules, and there's a lot of different coverages, once you learn the rules, it starts to become pretty intuitive. So I think this is also a win for the secondary here. And then let's see what we got. Yeah, Derek Williams, first things first, Eric.
Yeah, they need to he didn't. The portal's not open, right? If you're a Texas player and you go in the portal, there's no coming back. You're just gone. You get vacuumed to the other side, and who knows where you end up. Since he's not actually in the portal, it's possible that D. Will want to come back. And I need to check and make sure if they're even pushing for him to come back. But I know that he was relatively hesitant to leave. He was only leaving because of Akina and some frustrations born of this past season. And we know that Muschamp has already been on the phone with a lot of people, but I haven't heard anything on Derek coming back. But it would make a lot of sense. He's another athletic, lengthy body, even if he's not back to that pre-OU form. He's still got experience, and and I didn't really notice any. I didn't notice any negative athleticism where we saw, like, with C.J. Baxter, right? Derek Williams, he might not have stood out like he used to as far as just blazing across the field.
Yeah.
But he was elite in that regard. He still seemed fine with me athletically. So we'll see if they work to bring him back. And then Wardell Mack, I tend to think Wardell Mack will stay now. He's got a very good shot to start at nickel. The nickel still fits what he does. It's not some big, huge departure. So I think they'll be able to get him back. Now, we'll see on D-Will. I got to keep checking.
Yeah, my first thought was, how does this affect Wardell Mack? And I think it's a good thing. You said, Jonah Williams, he's going to see Jonah Williams and be like, what the hell is that? Incredible. And then he'll be like, you're doing what in the spring? So I'm sure that's got to be disappointing.
You're playing what? Baseball?
Yeah. What is that? That's not SEC, even though it is. Where SEC baseball is pretty actually crazy. But yeah, I'm sure he's bummed because you see Jonah Williams, you're like, damn, would have loved to work with him. So that's going to be a big factor. I'm excited about the corners as well. I think we have the corners to do whatever technique we want, whether that is just man or their version of like, if the receiver does this, they'll play a little bit zone type stuff. But this next wave of like Roberson, Littleton, Phillips, Black, I think this is perfect cycle right now for Muschamp.
I think new coaching gives another chance to see if Warren Roberson could play nickel. I think he's absolutely perfect for nickel, body-wise, physically, athletically, but obviously there's a bit more processing going on. If I'm Muschamp, I give it a chance. I don't know if they're going to do it, but you can always play Grayson there if you have to. I'm trying to get him outside. I think specifically with this on the run fits, I think it's going to be even more physical on Grayson. He's not the biggest guy already. I want a dog like Warren there. I want a dog like Kobe Black that has size, if I can get it. But we have to see what they're going to do there. But my first day of practice, and maybe I'll know within 5 minutes. Well, that was a terrible idea. No wonder they didn't have Warren at nickel, or maybe there's something there to work with.
Yeah, but the clean slate is nice, right? For some of these players, they kind of get labeled by the coach, and so to get a fresh shot is also good.
Yeah, Warren's going to be a Muschamp type of guy mentally too. Like, so he's a rough, tough, rugged guy.
That's part of my calculus. There is that guy fits. Athletic and physicality of nickel is perfect for it. He's built for it too. He's thicker build. You want to be a little bit stockier for that position. Janae was not that big, and what happened? He was beat to hell at the end of every year. It's a demanding spot, so I'm trying Warren there, and maybe Wardell could be cornerback, or maybe let Warren and Warren work there together. And then you got Jordan Johnson-Rebelli you could try there too, but that would probably be against bigger personnel looks. But there's a lot of pieces to work with. That's the bottom line. He inherited a ton of pieces to work with. And there, there's some more interesting guys coming in. Samari Matthews, that's a good man corner.
Oh man.
Yeah. And the safeties are going to love it too, right? Like that's what Muschamp was working with most recently, the safeties. And we know that this system puts out NFL DBs, and it's a system the NFL runs variations of. So you're also going to get a check. They're not going to worry about you in the evaluation if you can run NFL scheme. Right, because they're gonna know, hey, we stole a lot of these from Saban.
Yeah, Homer, you mentioned something about match coverages. You got to really, really communicate when it comes to that.
Yeah,
reps get so far into depth, you got to know, hey, okay, this turns into man. This is my guy. Back in the past, we ran a lot of matching. People run like switch routes, deep verticals, and it's like the corner would fall off and take the post, and then the guy run the wheel route was wide open. So I think we'll see communication pick back up to the level it was in 2024. Hopefully, anyway.
Well, it has to. If it doesn't, and if you're reading the Muschamp playbook, I think 4 separate people talk before the play. It's like corner says this, safety says down and distance, Mike says this. So it's like even before the play, and they're going to have to communicate post-snap. That's where the beauty of this scheme is. But even pre-snap, 4 different people have to call out different things. So it's definitely involved, and you need guys that are quick thinkers, and they have to talk. Okay, with Muschamp now as defensive coordinator, we'll start giving him full control of the defense, as well as who he wants to offer scholarships to.
Yeah, I mean, who's going to be better to evaluate than Will in that regard? I mean, you got to understand, Will Muschamp's sitting there perfectly fine, hanging out in Athens, Georgia, with a fat bank account. You don't come off the shelf like that unless you have tons of leverage and you kind of get what you want. I'm sure Will had it figured out. I'm going to be able to bring my safeties coach, whoever I want. and he's going to be able to allow a certain level of autonomy. Otherwise you don't. When you have leverage, you act entirely differently. A brand new DC for the first time would have very little say. He's got to prove himself as an evaluator. Will Muschamp's got a lot of skins on the wall.
Yeah, I think, and I heard in a podcast with him, I think he's coached 9 first rounders by now, Muschamp. And then I also hear like there's some fear that this is like a Keena light, right? Like this is a former glory hire, or like that he's an old guy. It's like Will Muschamp right here is like 54 years old.
Yeah.
It's like I hear people talking about like he's in his 70s, and it's like PK's older than Will Muschamp.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to get that out of your head, because I've heard that a couple of times. It's not the same, and Muschamp's nowhere near over the hill here for
the best coach in the country this year is what, 65?
Yeah. But they talk about him like he's close to retirement age, and it's just because he's very rich that he's able to take some time off and kind of do what he wants. He wanted to see his kids play in high school, and so he talks about Kirby. He was like, "Hey man, I really want to see my son play football, so I'm going to quit." And Kirby was like, no. What we'll do is you'll work Sunday through Wednesday, and I'll get you a flight to your kid's game, because he wanted him on the staff. And so he's like, hey man, we'll work with you. You don't even have to be here on Saturday. You don't have to do any of that. We want you on the staff though. We want you game planning. So that also shows Kirby was like, no, you don't got to go, man. We'll make it work type of thing.
Yeah. It's like fans, were they thinking he was in the job hunt for all these years and nobody wanted him? I mean, it's crazy. That guy could have taken any damn job he wanted. It's, like I said the other day, it's like Sark turned down a lot of head coaching opportunities. He didn't turn down Texas. And then, Muschamp had been here before. Trust Sark, sees the talent. Guarantee you he saw the talent, and that made it more enticing. And he also knows that game in Georgia was closer than the score indicated.
Yeah. He wanted to spend time with his family. He talks about it on a podcast. He's like, look, I really wasn't there that much for my family, and I'd move them all across the country all the time. So he's like, look, for the end of high school, but now they're all in college and years in college, that it's kind of now it's just normal to kind of separate a tad from your kids at that point. So now he's back. I mean, he misses yelling at people on the sidelines. It's gonna be absolutely awesome. So just as an analyst, I'm so excited for this system, because now from my job is I have to learn what's going on with Saban, and I've never had that motivation for it. I used to watch Saban stuff jealously and be like, I hope this applies to PK, but I think it's really cool. So that's going to be the big thing, getting everyone in the boat. And then what he's not coaching in the game. It's going to be Nansen, but he's there, right? He's evaluating.
I think he's there. I know he has been there. I'm not saying that he's still there at practice. I think they're practicing today. I don't know if he's there at practice today, so it depends on when you say he's there. He has been there for sure.
Okay. Because that's what I just want him to know. Hey, this is what I want in the portal. This is what I don't.
Hey, some of these questions we're getting asked, we answered earlier in the show. So, just rewind. I've seen a couple of these questions we definitely went over earlier at the beginning.
Cool. All right. Good on defense. Any other final pieces of the portal or fits or anything like that?
No, I don't think so. He's got, I think a lot of people are concerned about the level of production that a guy like Colin Simmons is going to have. Colin Simmons is going to be set up to wreck shop. After that, maybe we'll have to gauge it a little differently.
Well, my favorite thing that people are getting wrong consistently is just like, thank God Colin Simmons won't drop in coverage anymore. It's like wrong. Like he's like the whole point of the defense is to be very flexible. You don't know who the whole thing is. You don't know who the fourth rusher is. That's why we're going 3 down, right? So no, it's not just Colin's going to be on the edge pass rushing, unless Muschamp is doing a totally different thing than his previous stops. But you're going to see Simmons do a lot of cool stuff, and the NFL is going to enjoy the versatility there of Colin Simmons.
Yep.
I can't wait.
All right. The holiday season is here, and Academy Sports and Outdoors has the legendary gifts you need at undefeatable prices every single day. Shop in store or online at academy.com to save on gifts on everybody's list, from football jerseys and basketball hoops to fire pits and deer stands. The most wonderful time of the year happens here. This Christmas, give the gift of fun from Academy Sports and Outdoors. Christmas coming right up. Right up.
Yeah, I need to get my butt out there in the quagmire that is Christmas shopping.
You haven't done it yet? You're like me, dude. I got it done. I got everything done yesterday, so I'm feeling good. That's 2 days
Look at you.
normally get it done.
we traded in my wife's Jeep on last Friday, and she had that thing for 10 years, so I didn't feel bad about it. But I do feel bad about saying that that's part of her Christmas present. So yeah, even though it wasn't free, but yeah, I don't want to just go put a red bow on a car she's been driving 3 or 4 days. So
Yeah. I don't know. Did she get another Jeep though?
yeah, she got another Jeep. She
They
loves
just
those
buy her
Jeeps.
stuff for the Jeep. My parents have a Jeep, and there's like, God, man, I've never seen more accessories for a car.
Yeah,
ever.
hers needs steps. She's only 5'5".
Yeah,
and
you got to get
Yeah,
Yeah.
gotta help her out.
They don't tell you how much you're about to spend on top of just buying that Jeep just to make it how you want it to be. So that was interesting. All right. I wish that statement was mentioned every live stream to Texas Longhorn fans because of the view about Sergio Kindle 15 years ago. Fans seem to somehow think Colin Simmons will now only rush a quarterback. Yeah, I didn't even know that. Ian taught that to me on that video we did where he was like, well, it's Muschamp that has created that obsession in fans because he was the one that the thoroughbred doesn't go backwards talking about Sergio Kindle.
Yeah.
But the thoroughbred does go backwards. And so that's the big thing. So, yeah, fans are obsessed with that. Guys, there's nothing wrong with dropping edges into coverage. Will Anderson dropped into coverage about a fourth of the time, and he still got 17 and a half sacks. You want to be flexible. You want ability to do whatever you want. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yes.
All right. Let's talk offense, transfer portal. I don't have any fun scheme talk about this. We know this offense. They need another Matthew Caldwell. They need an older guy, leadership, future grad assistant.
Yep.
That's what you need just to stabilize the room. He knows the playbook. When the young guy doesn't know, he can take him aside. They're basically a coach.
Yeah.
And that'd be important. And I agree with you 100% there, Eric.
Yeah, hopefully they can find one that's talented like Caldwell too. Like that. That guy needs to go to a CFL tryout and see what he's got. He can play. So I don't think they're going to be able to find somebody as good as him that can go in and save a game like Mississippi State, or just go in and make plays with his legs. He was a revelation. I hope he's not done trying to play football.
Yeah, shout out Mississippi State. What a
Needs
legend.
that one.
Running back. No one's curious about running back. That's for sure in the portal. So when are we getting Jaden Ball, Eric?
Yeah.
Jaden Ball is going to meet with Summerall tomorrow night and Wednesday, and members of the new staff. Looks like they're trying to hire that Duke running back coach. We'll see how well that goes with them. I know that there's a lot of optimism on Florida's side that they're going to be able to talk him into staying, but there's still some optimism on the Texas side that he's going to go in the portal. And if he goes in the portal, I would not pay attention to any of the Ohio State or Georgia talk. It's going to be Texas or Florida.
Oh yeah,
Spot on.
Yeah, I feel comfortable here. I posted this on the board. People were arguing back and forth on like if you need Ball or not. If you get Ball, incredible. If you get one of the other guys that are super productive, maybe Isaac Brown or something, incredible. Or if you get two backs for the price of one that are above average, not elite, but above average, also great. So
I want Ball. I want it plainly known that I want Ball, and it's one of the rare times I'm willing to pay over market because I think in himself he's a force multiplier. I think he by himself can make up for any miscues that the offensive line coach has this offseason or in development. Or if they don't get good enough guys in the portal, I think he's a bit of a force multiplier. Even when things are not great, if things are good, then Arch Manning's going to be on easy mode. In ways that he brings predictable down and distance to where I think Brown is a little bit more boom or bust. A guy like Isaac Brown, a speed back, you could win games through the run game with him. I mean, he played a major part in Texas. Texas's loss there. He made things a lot easier on DJ Lagway in the passing game because he's running the ball effectively. I think he's a force multiplier in the way these other running backs aren't. Now, those other guys might be more explosive and all that, but I don't think you can necessarily build a consistent offense around them like you can Jaden Ball.
Sure. But to me, just production's production. Isaac Brown has higher yards after contact per attempt in Ball. So it's just the production is production. You're not going to find the first round talent of Ball really anywhere else. But my thing is I'm not worried about this position. I think the team is motivated to do the right thing. And I think wherever you land, keep in mind all of our backs have been below average. And they've been below average for 2 years. If you just had a league average back, this offense would look incredibly different. You get anything above average to elite, now you're really cooking. We were so bad that tiny changes would yield crazy results. Big changes are going to be even more outsized.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about this one.
I don't know. I'm 50-50. I'm kind of with you, Homer. It's fine if I can find two dudes for the price of one, they can do really good. But if I get Ball, it's like at the end of the day, okay, they're playing pass and taking away the pass game. Like, Ball, you can get the ball 30 plus times. He might just go win the game by himself. Like, you can take a lot of pressure off Arch and the entire offense by just saying, here you go. Here's the football. He did it against Florida State. They couldn't throw the ball. Lagway couldn't throw this past year, and that's all they had. So I know he can carry the load if need be.
Well, psychologically, he can carry it too, right?
Yeah.
Like,
you're going to have more physical practices. You're going to have a more physical team with him.
True.
It's a team mindset thing. Strong. Jesus. Sark is leaning hard into the team mindset. The upgrade on toughness at running back, the upgrade on toughness on defense with Muschamp in place with Kwiatkowski. We're probably going to see that again at wide receiver coach. Sark is leaning hard in this physicality mindset, and I think Jaden Baugh plays into that as well.
Yeah. The only argument for two backs is injury insurance. That's really the biggest one I've seen for it. Average doesn't win championships. Yes. That's why I didn't say average backs. I said above average to elite. All right.
And average backs win championships quite a bit, actually.
Well, if you look, Ohio State's backs aren't crazy.
Yeah.
So
Georgia's are talented. It's what's everybody operates in an ecosystem. You can have the running backs make the offensive line job easier, when Bijan Robinson did, or you can have the offensive line make life easier for the running backs, which happens all the damn time in football.
That's the problem, right? Like, because Georgia's backs can be average and it'll be fine, but that offensive line is good. We're having to find backs that are making up for poor offensive line play. So we have to select for a different style, because basically they have to make the offensive line right, which is unfortunate, but it is a different way of thinking than some of these.
That's the number one reason I want Baugh. He's a fail-safe on Kyle Flood.
And he's been in that fire. He knows what that feels like to have to make it work.
Yeah, he's playing SEC competition, not whatever Isaac Brown's going up against.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Wide receiver. Some moonshots out there.
There's a few moonshots out there. I mean, they got. I wrote this article this morning about how aggressive they're being. This is the most aggressive I've ever seen Sark. It's not even close. And it's whether it's about changing coaches or who they're trying to add in the portal. So yeah, there's moonshots at every position, really. But yeah, there's a couple out there at receiver. We'll see what happens there. It's gonna be interesting. We're not yet chasing our craziest story when it comes to the portal.
Yeah, but you said I don't see them spinning on a tier 1 guy. Rather, they'll look for someone who can grow into a tier 1 player on their dime, which is I'm okay with. If you can get a ready-made number 1, sure, but Golden, AD Mitchell were just like traits guys that you're able to kind of build. I think that would be a cooler evaluation here, because we are spending a lot kind of across the roster here. But
yeah, if they somehow pull off Jaden Baugh, that's there's going to be a downward effect somewhere. At some position is going to get shorted, or somewhere on the roster is not going to be maximized, just because that's how it is. There's always trade-offs. Ideally, if you could tell them right now, hey, you got a Matthew Golden, they'd be all about that for sure. That's super cost-effective move. Not that it was free to get him from U of H, but it's not like going out and trying to get Cam Coleman or something.
Yeah, you didn't pay for a first rounder.
Yeah,
he turned into one, which is great. All right. You mentioned Michigan State's Nick Marsh is intriguing, but I can only see him being added if someone left unexpectedly. Malcolm Simmons at Auburn, Jace Brown at Kansas State. Jace Brown is that speed receiver, right? Yeah.
Jace Brown is like a DeAndre Moore that actually hits vertically more often. Plays inside and out. Both those guys play inside and out, which I think appeals to them, because they do run a lot of 12 personnel. We'll see. I mean, like I said, man, they're taking moonshots everywhere. We'll see what transpires.
We shall. Tight end, Jack injuries update, man.
Oh. Yeah, Jack is like we've been saying for a couple of weeks now. I can't believe it's the 22nd already.
That's weird.
He's playing in the bowl, and then he's going to decide after that. The thing that we're watching more closely than we were originally is, they're kind of leaning in Nick Townsend's future. And I think that affects Jack's decision as well. Obviously, they do, like we just talked about, they run 12 personnel, 2 tight end sets quite a bit. And Nick and Jack can coexist in that, but I don't know if that's, exactly what Andrews is looking for next year. And I don't think there's any guarantee that he's tight end 1 next year, because, I think we all know what type of talent Nick Townsend is. Now, here's the trade-off there, because Nick's not as natural of a receiver as Jack is. Right. Once he has the ball in his hands, it's over with. He's entirely different than almost anybody. But he's not the smoothest catcher of the ball. Maybe and still is learning where to sit in coverage and all that stuff. All the nuances that come with playing that position at a high level.
Mm-hmm.
The upside is just phenomenal.
Yeah, baby. And they're a bit redundant, right? You're going into 12 personnel with 2 receiving tight ends. Now, don't get me wrong, Nick Townsend, heavy metal, he's down to hit. But really their upside is how crazy athletic they are. But hey, I love that 12 personnel grouping they did versus A&M. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, I want to see what Winston becomes after the offseason, man. Look, I mean, I like him. I know he works hard, but I want to see what he can be. I mean, I think he's that natural, really like tight end.
But he was getting good reports. Eric is like knowing what the hell was going on reports, right? That was what I thought.
He was early last year. It was Grayson Littleton, Dalen McCutcheon, and Amari Winston were the freshmen we heard about the most. And even in the spring, and then he got dinged up in August. And you bring Nick on campus, and that's going to change things up just because Nick is such an awesome force. But Winston's a baller. He's got the best hands at that position. I don't know. Jacks are really good, but Winston goes out and makes catches away from his body and really, really soft hands. So they like that guy. And I think eventually, I don't know how it's going to play out because Nick can play inline or flexed. Winston is more of a guy that you motion and move around to me than play inline. But they can all coexist. But like we've talked about, Homer, they need a blunt force object at tight end is what they're really missing.
I'll believe it when I see it. I'm not even going to get started, man. I get DMs all the time. Every time a tight end commits, someone's like, "What do you think of this tight end?" I become like the tight end guy, really, by just saying I like guys that block sometimes.
The frustrating thing about the tight end, the blunt force object, is you can just like give him $100K and like free barbecue, and you'll get it done.
Yeah. Yeah, you just need like a caveman. It's really not a crazy thing, but everyone wants to know my tight end eval anytime someone commits now. All right, offensive line. And this is the biggest question, no doubt. Got to land them, and we got to get them on the inside, and they need to be able to move human beings. So let's talk through some of the guys. I think you mentioned.
Why are people talking about Corian Moore over here? Texas is going to pull somebody from Oregon. Give me a break. Phil Knight's probably got missile defense systems over playing. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, he just locked down the state. All right, so let's talk about some options at interior. You have the Texas State player first off.
Yeah, it's this situation kind of reminds me of the AD Mitchell one in that. Years ago, everybody knew that they needed a wide receiver, desperately needed a wide receiver to complement Xavier Worthy. I was aware of Adonai Mitchell being a person of interest beforehand, and I was telling everybody, hey, look, every time they pass on this guy that's pretty good, it's a good sign. And people were tired of hearing it, and Adonai didn't do me any favors by going in at the last minute, so I had to hear it for like 3 weeks. But every time they passed on a wide receiver, I said, hey, this is actually a good development. They're not reaching for somebody because they have somebody better in mind. Now, Telek Lockett has a lot of options right now, but so far Texas has not gone all in on them. I think that tells us quite a bit that they, first of all, they don't have to because it's still early. The portal doesn't officially open until the 2nd of January, but they are working some other angles. So if that guy doesn't end up in Texas's class, I think it's going to be a pretty good sign.
Yeah. All right. Any other sexy names out there that you can't tell us?
Hold on a second. Now I've got to check things because I might have to walk back a lie.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I wrote an article about some offensive linemen, that's in the portal from a number of schools, versatile guys who can play interior or be the swing tackle. So, not that I don't know, Texas, even after those guys or, whatever the make case, but there's some names actually in the portal, like some big guys that would fit what we want to do. If one a zone team or a gaps scheme team. So, there's actually some bodies out there that's capable of coming in and playing, right away. So,
DeAndre Moore. Are they saying okay? I thought they were saying DeCorian Moore. I'm like, what the hell? Yeah, no, we already knew DeAndre was going to the portal. I broke that last week.
Yeah, we talked about that last week. We did a short on it too. Yeah, we know that DeAndre was going to the portal.
I thought I saw them saying DeCorian Moore. Okay,
someone did say DeCorian up there.
Okay, I saw DeCorian Moore and then everything after that. No, we already know about DeAndre Moore. That's old news.
Yep. All right. Get antsy all you want on O-line, but there are going to be a lot of good options. That's the beautiful thing, man. It's like you can find good interior guys all over the country. We just need to figure it out. and then figure out whatever's going on with Flood, because Sark is making moves right now, and it seems like it could go either way. So that's going to be a big factor. People want Scudero. Hell yeah. Probably need an outside guy. But I'm down with Scudero.
Yeah, somebody put something out there. Lane Kiffin would be really intrigued with Scudero.
Well, like we joke about it, Scudero's going to go ball somewhere. He's going to go absolutely ball somewhere. It's just if it's a fit for Texas.
Yeah, there's certain guys when the short area quickness is so good, they're going to play. Like I remember there was a kid coming out of Cy Falls, I think, Texas, Eric Hallett. He was a cornerback, and he ran something like a 3.90 shuttle. And I said, holy crap, that is just so ridiculous. That kid's going to be a player. He ended up going to like Washington State, bouncing around in the portal. He's starting in the NFL right now. Once you have a certain amount of short area quickness,
yeah, you're good.
Even really good athletes can't cover you. And I think Scudero probably runs a sub-4 shuttle.
Yeah, and he just gets open, man. Like studying him before San Jose State, I was immediately like, this is their number one player. And they tried to get it to him until Anthony Hill punched him in the face. All right. Is this the Haywood grab? Is that who we're talking about?
Yeah. Charlie, how many times did we try to investigate that one and why Texas didn't go after him?
Yeah, a ton. Haywood never just really seemed interested in Texas whatsoever. I don't know, man. You thought you would have had a connection with Anthony Hill, being Denton Ryan teammates, whatever the case, but
I always talk to my old coaches and I'm like, where are they going? For any Denton Ryan players.
Yeah.
Trying to get the lead. I'm glad OU's kind of out of the mix now. Because it used to be you had to worry about OU, which was frustrating. Because we're only 2.5 hours from Oklahoma City area, but OU's presence in Denton has gone down.
Fell off. This fell off in DFW completely. Period. Honestly.
Yeah, I rarely ever hear about OU anymore. Because remember they were grabbing a bunch of the Geyer guys, and then who's the safety from Denton Ryan? Bowman. They had a really good run there for a while. But it doesn't seem like that's necessarily occurring
the
anymore.
Presence is not good here in DFW, which is a good thing for us, but I'll take it.
Thank God. All right, before we keep going, guys, let's hear a word from Andre the Lawyer.
Texans know when you're injured, there's one name that gets results. Andre the Lawyer. Trust the team that has secured millions for their clients and helped thousands of Texans win their injury cases. Car wrecks, slip and falls, 18-wheeler accidents, on-the-job injuries, wrongful deaths. Don't let the insurance companies tell you what your claim is worth. Andre the Lawyer will fight for you. His principal office is in Dallas, but they serve Texans throughout the state. So don't wait. Call 214-444-8808. That's 214-444-8808. Contact info is in the description.
Thank you, Andre. You're a great guy. Okay, I have your new notes up here, Eric. We're not going to go through all of them. We're not going to give them all the goods, but I do want to ask about safeties coach. There was a week ago, old news, maybe Gideon. You've since kind of said probably not. So what's going on there with that potential safeties position?
Yeah, Gideon was the first pick, but it's a money thing. It's not really the coordinator title like everybody says. He could come be co-DC or whatever, passing game coordinator. He's not like most of us. You ever work in the corporate world? Who cares about your title, man? It's about money. People will get the corporate world will give you praises, not raises. All of us worker bees, we want the raises. So that seems like it's dead in the water. T-Rob is always his go-to, Travaris Robinson. But right now that's to be determined. So they're still looking around as far as I know. I have not heard that T-Rob is done for sure.
That would be nice. And he was at Bama, right? I remember Bama being bummed about losing him as well. But he's been in that system for a very, very long time. So that would be a really good grab.
There's the value of it. He's not as young as he once was, where I think he was always like, he was a really good – he might still be a good recruiter. I haven't followed him as closely as I did. Texas was crossing paths with him a lot when Strong got to Texas and they were trying to recruit that region for the first time in a long time and started hearing all these coaching names because Texas just stayed so insulated forever. Once Strong started going to Florida and elsewhere out there, you start hearing T-Rob's name all the time. I haven't quite heard him that same way like I used to, but obviously he knows the system, and there's going to be a learning curve here. So as many hands on deck that are teaching the same consistent message for Muschamp is very important.
Yeah, he knows the system. And when I was listening to Muschamp, I was excited because he did a bunch of podcasts. He's a very kind of bookish, normal guy on the podcast. So he doesn't have that personality. He's kind of a football nerd, which makes sense. Saban guys are all football nerds.
All of
People
them.
don't realize it, but they're nerds. But he was talking about what he was really excited for. Muschamp was involved in like Jalen Walker, Michael Williams, of course, the safeties that he's had. But Muschamp did a lot of good like recruiting stuff. And part of the reason why he didn't want Muschamp to just go off with his family and stay is because he had a lot of good relationships with the recruits. So he's like, hey man, stay around, game plan, and then keep developing your relationships so you can get your guys. So I was happy to see that Muschamp had a hand in a really good relationship with a lot of the first rounders that are just went from Georgia as well, and of different positions, right? Those guys aren't safeties that I mentioned. So that's a big thing. But I think T-Rob would be a good grab. I think when he went from Bama to Georgia, I remember the Bama fans being like, man, we got to try to do what we can to keep T-Rob and all of that too. So I'd be really excited with that grab. And then how does that cascade, right? Because if he's what position is Muschamp coaching at that point, right? Or is he just the real overseer? Does he go to linebackers? Nanson's is coaching the defense in the bowl game. So now you have all these kind of complications, right?
TK didn't really coach anybody last year. I mean, he was kind of the edge coach, but that was really Leon Clark. Leon Clark did all the coaching.
Yeah, you can go big picture.
Yeah, it's Texas still has Kenoto Hudson on staff who's been coaching the nickels too. I don't know, maybe that lasts. I don't know, but it's not even a concern these days. You can have a lot of coaches.
Yeah. I love the fact if you bring T-Rob in, you got two guys that's been on the Muschamp and know the system, Orfe and T-Rob, who can help these guys communicate, right? And so I think it's like get your perfect your picture with those two.
Was Orfe a GA for Muschamp back?
I think he was an analyst at Georgia under Muschamp. Yeah, he was an analyst there.
No, I think he was an analyst at South Carolina.
Okay.
He was a GA at South Carolina under Muschamp and an analyst at Alabama in 2002.
Okay. So then he knows. Yeah, he knows the system.
Yeah,
he's been exposed to it twice.
Yeah.
You want coaches that know this system. Yeah. If I show you this playbook of 700 pages, you don't want your coach that doesn't understand trying to teach players that don't understand. So it's actually been very narrowing on who we need in the portal and on what coaches we need to bring, because I just have to look at the tree opposed to just poaching whatever random guy. Some people were saying PK to Oregon after he left, and I was like, PK's not that system. So it's like Lanning's going to want whoever's out of that system. I think USC would be awesome for him. Man, I hope PK finds a spot because mad respect to PK. Shout out.
Yep.
Everything he did. Yep. And also just classy final farewell. Just a solid dude, man.
Yep. It's a cruel business, but he'll land on his feet. I know he's caught off guard by that whole thing, but let's see what this one says. Yeah. Now people are asking who's DeAndre Moore's agent and all that. I don't know. Man.
Y'all want to get DeAndre Moore in the portal, guys? Can we turn around and just go and grab him real quick? That'd be nice.
I mean, DeAndre Moore to the portal is what we've been talking about for weeks and weeks and weeks. We broke it last week. Well, actually, when we broke it last week, he was telling people he was going to the NFL draft. And I think, well, we left it open-ended because, I don't know, man. Come back. Go get paid somewhere because he can get paid well somewhere. And then improve your draft stock and then go. But this has been in the works, and it's kind of by design. They need the money to go a little bit bigger at wide receiver. So it's by design. It's a trade-off. It's no different than following your favorite baseball team. They let the first baseman go because they want to bring in a better first baseman. That's all there is to it.
Yeah. Try to just get this picture of T-Rob off of here. So
hey, he looks good there, man. How long ago was that? He's in shape.
He's only like 44. That's what's
really
weird. Yeah, he's still that young. There's something with the Saban system. We think these guys are 20 years older than they are. And
I've just been hearing his name forever, man. T-Rob. And it seems like
GAs and move up.
Yeah, these guys are younger than I realized. I thought Muschamp was easily going to be in his 60s, so I looked it up. And I was like, oh, no, he's younger than I realized. So that's a good thing. And then we have someone down here I think is a Georgia fan or just a scheme fan that really likes this grab with Will Muschamp. Everyone I've talked to behind the scenes that are like scheme are like, man, that's the move. Now, coincidentally, they're all Saban guys, so of course they're going to be like, yeah, hell yeah, that's the system. But it has been absolutely awesome. Let's talk. David Keith Williams kind of had something about who's going to be the culture coach, and he wants to be hired for it. But I do think the grab. So Kirby beats us, and then basically goes and cuts WWE promos for a week, calling us soft, right? And that if if you're not tough, you can't be at Georgia. It's all subtweeting that Texas is soft. Then you turn around and go and get Muschamp, who's nuts on the field, and I don't think you have to worry about being soft that play. And then Jabbar Jalouk also does not take kindly to any type of disrespect. So, Eric, what do you think that means, man? You think Sark got a little annoyed with that? Hey, you guys are finesse. You guys can't hang thing with these hires.
Yeah, and we talked about it a little bit this season. I feel like the culture wasn't the same as it had been, and there's different ways you can explain that. They lost a lot of guys to the NFL. That always plays a part.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that all these moves that he's making, the through line is that he's trying to get more aggressive and more physical, and just a tougher mindset. And I think when we see the coaching change that I expect at wide receiver, we'll probably see another sign of that. Somebody that's going to be similar to, I think, replacing Chad Scott with Jabbar Jalouk. I don't think Chris Jackson's going to be back. He doesn't have a contract right now. I think we'll see another wide receiver coach in that's more of has more of a dog mentality, and that doesn't mean that these guys can't be great without it. It's just what Sark's looking for right now. I don't really have an opinion on it one way or the other, but Sark definitely seems to be looking for maybe a little bit more tense, maybe a little bit more vocal, maybe a little bit harder exterior, but at the same time, the guys that can relate to their players too. So it's a bit of a delicate dance, but that seems to be what Sark is looking for, and I think we're going to see more of that at wide receiver.
Yeah, he's Muschamp is pretty intense on the field, but you can tell he does develop good relationships. He's not just there's a difference. You can be a tough coach if they know you're a good person, right? And off the field. Now, if you're just mean, no one likes just a mean boss, right? You have to have that depth. And I think these guys do have that depth and actually do build relationships, but they will yell at you very much.
Kids want to get coached. Kids want to get coached hard as long as they're seeing improvement.
Right.
I remember everybody called Texas soft when Mac left, and they brought in Yancey. That was, I guess, strong. They brought in Yancey McKnight, and Yancey McKnight was a hard ass. I don't think they were calling Texas soft at that point. They had actually had some decent defenses at first. See Vance Bedford in here. Yancey McKnight was a hard ass, a total hard ass. And you would think that those guys didn't like him, or they always talk about, well, how's he going to relate to the younger generation? They loved him because they all saw that they were making improvement, and they actually those teams played with a chip on their shoulder. The defenses did, and so you can be a hard ass, just get results. Kids go to the military. They're looking for a military that's hard and tough, and it's going to strengthen their resolve. It's what 18 to 22-year-olds are looking for and need. You just have to come across genuine and authentic.
You know how every generation calls the previous generation soft for community. But I was actually watching this video that's like basically the elite special forces guys that are Gen Z. And so they were talking to these old military guys, and they're like, how are you handling this generation, like turning them into, real killers? And they were like, look, the kids don't change, the circumstances do. Right. And so he was saying they're all the same. We haven't evolved past that. We're the same thing that we've been forever. It's just like we just have to make the circumstances return to what they were to activate that. So
look, I'll tell you, if you're recruiting some of the talent, especially from around here, you go to some of these practices like I get a chance to. These coaches around here at DFW, they're not soft. These kids are getting coached hard and talked to the same way they got an expectation. They know what to expect when they get to college, right? So it's fine. They need this kind of tough love. It's good for them. And a lot of kids respond to it well. And I have no problem if I'm going down 35, if I hear Will Muschamp or somebody on the megaphone, like everybody gets the videos of Kirby yelling at his team. I want to hear the same thing in Austin. I think it's a good thing. They need it. It's okay.
Yeah. Vance
a lot of those kids are dogs, man. I mean, Anthony Hill was a dog. Colin Simmons is a dog. Jelani's a dog. I mean, it's going to be good for the program.
Colin Simmons just liking every tweet about A&M getting beat was that Colin's awesome. One of the rare players that can back it up, unlike A&M's players that keep talking trash and they get smacked.
Well, Cassius Howell disappeared again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's
crazy
part of
for an all SEC legendary player, man.
Yeah, I think that's part of the college chip is that, Cassius Howell just didn't play the last two games that I saw, and he got all the accolades.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt that there's some motivation there. And then Armaj Reed Adams always talking crazy and then not showing up in the big games. And it's in Zune this last one. Will the offense be more physical? Can we run the ball in 3rd and 1? That's what Kirby's talking about. Yeah, the Texas defense is not the soft side, unfortunately. But this is why Eric wants Jaden Baugh. So it's like there's no question. So that's
I want Jaden Baugh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Homer's fine with a track star back there. I want Jaden Baugh. And last time Muschamp was at Texas, the whole team got tougher. It was a program-wide mindset, and not just his side of the ball. He had that big of an effect. Now, can he do it again? Yeah, I don't know. These guys are a little bit different professionally, but I think he's going to have a similar effect, honestly, because those guys want to be tough. They want to be good. They want to be physical. Some of those guys on offense were just a little bit limited. Hey, those wide receivers will block. I know they'll block. There's some toughness on that side of the ball.
Yeah, and the backs, like you're not worried about Weiser's toughness. That's never been the question, right?
No, not at all.
It's the interior off. You don't worry about Gooseby or Baker either. It's literally just the interior offensive line that you want to see get more action. But we got to see. It's going to be pretty wild. Any thoughts on Michigan, guys? I don't know what the hell to analyze for this game. So they have Barham's going to be out. They're Moore, their end. I don't even know what the hell this is going to look like, man.
I've spent about 3 minutes thinking about Michigan. I have no idea. I'm chasing. This is the most important month of 2026, and it's 2025. So that's what I've been focused on. I think
it's going to be weird. I think they're just going to run the ball and see if our linebackers can fit. I mean, I really think that's the name of the game here, but they won't have all their star players, which is nice. But
or somebody else calling plays since Chip Lindsey left. So it's like, all right, everybody over there probably just coaching for the jobs, trying to show what.
Well, I was going to say, if your OC leaves, what do you lean on? The run game, right? Because they've been repping that. There's not putting in a ton of schemes. Underwood, you have to make him happy, right? Because he could be out of there. So maybe you do go more fast. But that's what, even with the OC leaving, I think you do just lean on running the ball at that point. And we're going to have to figure out if we can do anything about that.
Well, Texas has a great D-line. That gives them a chance. And I'm excited to see all the young guys flying around. There's going to be some stupid mistakes, but there's also going to be some really obvious talent out there that, some of the guys that we're going to see that didn't play a ton this year are more talented than the people that are ahead of them. I love Ethan Burke, but Lance Jackson is more talented than Ethan Burke. Cade Phillips is extremely talented. That's probably a 3-year player. We get to see Bo Barnes for the first time. I'm really excited about seeing the youth. That's my number one. And I still think they should be able to get the win too. I mean, you still got Arch. You got the best quarterback in the game. They continue to find the passing game with the wide receivers. And the Texas D-line is really good. So I like Texas in that game, but I haven't really been focusing too much on it.
I think it's going to be weird, but there's going to be a lot of this guy's got this for next year. All right, everyone. Chat, thank you. Coach. Eric, thank you as well. I want to see you guys on Inside Texas. Join for $1. Eric's been going crazy, man. Like every day he's dropping some intel piece and all of that. It's been beautiful. So we would love to see you over at InsideTexas.com.
Hey, I can't sit here and say how important it is, and then I'm taking days off. You can't do that.
No, every morning I just wake up and I'm like, awesome, man, a new intel piece. So
hey, I like it too because it's busy and I'm not having to hunt through my phone for information. And it's just like it's kind of falling in my lap at times, or I'm getting great leads. So yeah, you can't say it's busy and then not have a lot to write. So this is when things are difficult and busy. That's when my job is easiest because I don't have to sit there and look under every rock for something to write about.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We're going to have some good content coming up for you today. This was brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Later.